All right, guys, we're here at Namco Bandai with Ken Ma, and we're going to take a look at Inversion. So what can you tell us about this?
Okay, so Inversion is a third-person cover-based shooter, and you're playing as Davis Russell, and your co-op partner right here is Leo Delgado. The basic story is that you two are both cops, and then your city is actually invaded by this unnamed or unknown enemy. They're wielding all these weird gravity powers, and they basically tear your city up, and in the confusion, during all the chaos and everything, your wife is killed off and then your daughter goes missing. So part of as you're going through the campaign, you're trying to find your daughter, and then you're kind of unraveling where they came from and why they invaded your city. So one of the devices that you get early on in the game, you actually take this from them, and this allows you to control gravity. This is called the GravLink device. So what I can do right now is I have two different options. Right now what you see right now is this is in low gravity mode. So what I can do is I can shoot these objects, and instantly everything's lifted up. So I can actually, since this is a cover-based shooter, when enemies are kind of trying to camp out behind cover, what I can do is I can pop them up and get an easy headshot. Or what I can do is any of these objects, I can actually pick these objects up, and I can use it to deflect fire, or I can use it to shoot back at them and use it as a weapon. So in addition to that, you can also switch this to heavy gravity, which is the opposite. What you do is when you shoot the heavy gravity, you'll instantly increase the gravity on any object. So in the case of an enemy, if you shoot them with heavy gravity, they'll instantly collapse to the ground, and my favorite thing to do is I'll toss a grenade and kind of moonwalk off and then get away from them. So it's pretty cool. And you also, if you hit them twice with it, what you can do is you can smash them and instantly get some spaghetti sauce. It's pretty cool. So I'll be able to show you some of these things, just pay attention to when it gets a little confusing. One of the things that gravity kind of adds to the gameplay is that normally when enemies throw grenades at you, you typically try to run away or dodge it. In the case of gravity, everything starts floating around, so it's not uncommon for a grenade to kind of float by your head without you paying attention, and it kind of blows up right next to you. So in this level right here, we're actually taking the fight back to them. This is probably about the midway point through the game, and the GravLink device is fully powered up now. You won't start the game with heavy gravity, but eventually through the course of the game, you'll be able to power it up and you'll earn it.
So are most of these gravity effects like area-wide or object-specific?
Well, no, you'll shoot it and it affects actually an area. You want to aim it almost like a grenade, so you blast it, and then it'll affect objects and enemies that are kind of caught in it. So they're not helpless. They'll still be able to shoot you, but it'll let you pop them out of cover. So in this case, I can actually grab this object right here, and I've got a little grenade I can throw at them. So if you notice this guy up here, we put this guy up here to kind of simulate a camper in a multiplayer game. The guy that kind of pops up and keeps shooting you. So what I can do is I can pop him up, and I can bring him right over to me, and I can send him flying at his partner.
Very cool. So if someone is hiding on the other side of a wall, can you hit the front side of the wall and affect them on the other side?
Yep, exactly. So another thing that we've added to the game is we've actually got the Havoc Destruction module added to the game. So what that allows you to do is, it gives me a lot of options right here. What I can do is, if I wanted to, I could pick this guy off, but in this case, I can shoot some low gravity, kind of distract him, and then I can grab one of these objects here. Oh, he's still shooting rockets at me. I can actually go ahead and collapse the entire structure down.
That's very, very cool.
So we placed these strategically throughout different levels, so you have to kind of pay attention. But there's we'll see a couple more examples of when you can kind of take advantage of the destruction.
And is this a boss fight that we have here?
Well, this guy's just a little bit of teaser. He's a mini boss that you'll fight a little bit later in the game. He's not in the demo. He just kind of he actually controls these guys. These guys are the slaves, and they're melee based, so they'll come up to you and just beat your face in. But the good thing about the GravLink is that I have a shockwave attack. I can send them off and flying. It's basically like a little blast of gravity. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like you're just instantly making them explode into blood.
Yeah. So in this case, I can do that, and I just hit them with heavy gravity, pin them on the ground, and just shot their heads off.
You mentioned the Havoc engine earlier. Like, what is the gameplay engine that it's running on?
This is actually Saber Interactive's own proprietary engine.
And a little bit earlier with the gravity effects, you mentioned that you were simulating a camper. Did you design this game with multiplayer in mind?
Everything that you see that I'm doing in the single player mode, it definitely carries over to multiplayer, and we have it on the show floor if you wanted to try it out.
So all of these gravity effects will be available in the multiplayer?
Yes. So I can grab this guy and I can bring him in, and it's a little finishing move that we've added. There's a couple of different variations that it's pretty fun. So in this case right here, this guy's got a rocket, and what I can do is notice that he is standing next to some barrels, some explosive barrels, which are always red in any game, for the record. Yeah. I can tag that while he's helpless, and I can blow up the entire structure. So another way that you can actually use heavy gravity is, you see these objects here. We place some of these objects, for example, you'll notice that there is a wide open area here. And what I can do is I can shoot that with high gravity, and instantly I've created a new cover object. You actually have to pay attention to when you bring these down, because the AI will actually recognize if you're not using it, and they'll move up and take that if you're not fast enough.
So if the AI can adapt that quickly, will there be bots for a multiplayer type of deal?
We actually tried with the bots. Either they were too aggressive with the Gravlink device. It was just a little bit too much to handle. So it's just, we won't be featuring bots in the game.
Well, that's cool. So you just threw the low gravity on yourself and just kind of hovered there?
Well, no, since this is actually the enemy's device, you'll find enemies that will actually pull you out of cover. So you actually have to keep moving. It's pretty cool. You're not entirely helpless, but it's pretty surprising when they shoot you with it.
So if someone hits you with the low gravity, can you throw down a heavy gravity to cancel it out?
We're still working on that for multiplayer. We're still kind of bouncing, but that's definitely one of the things that we're playing with.
And can you speak at all about the different types of multiplayer game modes that you have in mind?
We're only featuring one right now at E3, but we actually have a pretty good variety, and every single mode that we have in multiplayer features a kind of a distinct gravity flavor to it.
So it's just putting their own inversion twist on these game types.
Yeah, definitely. So everybody's always asking me why, what's inversion come from, and this is a great example that I'm going to show you about right here. So the second kind of key feature that we have that features gravity is called the vector shift. And in this case, this is when enemies are going to be on the wall. You notice that all these enemy structures are actually built on the side of this wall. This is called a static vector shift. And you'll notice if I equip grenades, one sec. If I equip grenades and try to throw it, you'll actually notice that it curves and it adjusts the gravity. So you can imagine how crazy you can get playing multiplayer with grenades kind of curving in every direction. So the player can actually jump into these. We actually feature other types where they're more of an event. You'll actually be walking, for example, you'll be walking down the street in the middle of a gunfight, and all of a sudden this event happens, and everything, all objects, you and the enemy are all thrown in a random direction. It's pretty cool.
So how many different weapons are going to be available in your character's arsenal?
We have a pretty good staple of weapons right now. We've got a couple of assault rifles, shotguns, sniper rifles, rocket launchers, a couple of heavy machine guns. I think the number is definitely 10 plus, and we're trying to cram in as many as we can. So another thing that you can do with these objects is, if I wanted to, there's some bigger objects that you can get later they're kind of scattered throughout the game, but when you grab them, if you're good enough, you can actually deflect enemy fire with this. So that also carries into multiplayer. One of the favorite things that I like to do, I like to grab a body, and you can pick up a body of an enemy that you've already killed, and you can use him to kind of soak up like a meat shield. And while he's doing that, you'll see his arms and his body kind of fall apart, and then you can grab his torso and throw it at somebody else to get an extra kill.
So for the multiplayer, are you planning any sort of open beta for people to get their hands on and like test how everything's working out, balancing issues and all that?
Well, we're definitely doing this internally. We're trying to do it. We're going to be balancing, all the way up until release, and we're going to reveal more plans about that stuff later on.
And is there any DLC plan, maybe more weapon packs that you might not get to?
We're still talking about those things, and we're leading up to the release of February 7th, 2012. Once it comes out, leading up to that point, we'll definitely have all the details for everybody.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Ken. The game looks great. We can't wait to get our hands on it on February 7th, 2012.
Yep. Looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.